So I'm noticing something kind of fishy. We're finally getting some sun. And for whatever reason, our batteries are sitting at 12.2 volts or so, but we're only drawing 3 amps off of the battery bank. But the small array pulling as much as 20 amps, and our large array is producing quite a bit, upwards of 20 amps, maybe even 25. So we've got cumulatively, when the sun is shining, 45 amps of juice coming in, which should be more than enough to make our batteries jump up. It's drama. It's just solar. I don't know. This is my solar. So many people say their solar is problem-free. Never even looked at it. 25 years. That's not my experience. So, in all the chaos of the workshop and whatnot, our batteries are filthy again. But something that jumped out to me is this terminal is ridiculously corroded all of a sudden. I'm not sure what's going on there. Every other terminal's, you know, is pretty clean. There's a couple that look like this one could use just a little touch up, but this one is horrendously corroded. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and clean it up, because this is the positive side for all of our solar arrays, as well as, you know, directly to the inverter. So this one terminal being dirty is probably contributing, if not causing, this problem. Actually, I just realized that Alyssa's editing video, so I can't shut the inverter off yet. I'm super excited for a little bit more solar. Alyssa's dad had an extra panel. He actually gifted these panels to us. We had 3 of them, if you remember. That's what we used to hook up the Outback, and that gave us a massive power jolt. Much needed power jolt. We were struggling with just having not enough solar. This is actually 1,000 watts or 1 kilowatt, and that maxes out the Outback FlexMax 80 just because of our battery bank voltage. So I had to do a little creativity. I wired these in series, 2 panels, and then in parallel, because the voltage, the open circuit voltage, was too high, which was tripping the Outback. All you solar nerds will know what I'm talking about there. But all you solar nerds are going to scream and holler when you see that this array is behind this wood pile and you see all the shade on the panels. Well, I'm working on that. So I'm actually working on building a new kind of more long-term array mount that I want to put out here in the front of the property, where we won't have all this shading issues. As an initial step in that direction, I had to lengthen our cables. We didn't have any long runs of cable because we didn't really want to deal with long runs until this array came around and we can increase the array voltage. So I'm hoping to move that array around front here in the short term, and then soon, as soon as I get all the components and things together to build this new array, we'll actually move it out to the front of the property, and it should be good to go year round out there. Alyssa and I were just too tired to hot tub last night, so I'm gonna try heating the hot tub again today, and maybe we'll get a chance to tonight. Looks like I killed Mr. Turtle. I sunk him. I think he had a leak, and so now he's full of water. And new to the backhoe is some sort of loose wire issue. During the timber frame workshop, we were trying to use the backhoe, and I noticed that the lights were getting really dim, and I noticed that the voltage is down, which led a couple of our friends to help us try to diagnose it. Turns out the alternator is working good, the new one. Battery's fine. Something is probably wet or loosely connected, maybe in the ignition. Friend Brian went through all the fuses. Thank you, Brian, and got those cleaned up and lubed up. And guess what? Something is keeping this from working. So the hour meter stops, tachometer stops, voltmeter is working, but it's not showing charge. Fuel gauge is working. So something is shorting out. It's either corroded or got a loose ground or something. Thankfully, I've got a repair manual on the way, so I can start to kind of figure out where these wires go and what goes to what, which really sucks, but it'll be a fun project, and I have a lot to learn about this piece of equipment, and I look forward to getting everything working as good as we can. I know I've got some sort of phantom issue now. Some wire that's loose or corroded. Come on! Wow, those are heavy. I think I'm gonna have to ask for Alyssa's help on those. So I'm gonna need your help in a minute.
I was thinking in my head, like, oh no, any moment Jesse's gonna drag me away from my video edit to go lift heavy things, aka turning a log.
Wah, 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 wah. I need your help, not right now, but at some point, lifting the floor joists that we did not use. They're heavy. It's the first time I've seen in our loft. Wow, look at those dovetails. Aren't those pretty? So cool. Oh man, isn't that gonna be a view? We've got to do a couple of less than desirable tasks. These braces on the ends of the ridge beam are still attached, but they're only attached at the top with I think probably one large anchor, and well, they don't need to be there, first of all, and second of all, if that anchor were to break, it would be a pretty dramatic crash. So I don't know if today's the day to get up there, but at some point we've got to get some plywood up here and then get an extension ladder up to the ridge beam and then get over there and get those dismounted. And there's the extension ladder. thing is flippin' heavy because the delay in getting our SIP panels is growing for a lot of reasons. This warm board is obviously getting quite wet, which isn't going to particularly damage it, but it's just makes a mess. That's it, makes a mess. And so we've tarped to some degree to try to keep some of the garage dry. You can see the amount of water that tarp's holding. It's ridiculous. We talked about just buying some visqueen that's maybe 14 feet wide or 16 feet wide and doing each bay, overlapping the bays, and then kind of taping up the posts to create a pretty solid barrier, and then use furring strips. So that's on my to-do list today. Part of why I'm doing more cleanup, just removing a lot of this stuff from up here. So much work.
Hey.
For anyone who cares, I challenge anyone out there to do work with a camera and not get completely mad. This whole entire time I thought my camera was running. I nearly had this piece of plywood up here. Alyssa came to save the day. Ladder's wobblier than hell. I don't want to ruin the moment because it's pretty special. So now this camera's on. So I'm going to put it on my head. And hopefully it stays on. Well, welcome to the Loft. We should start a little restaurant in here called the Loft, and we'll have a little.
What's funny is when I'm in Illustrator trying to map out a floor plan for the loft, being up here, I'm like, the loft ain't that big. It's not that big.
It's pretty big, but it's not like massive.
I mean, if you had 2 enclosed bedrooms up here and a bathroom, it's very small.
Well, like this area over here, this bent ray or bay. Is the same size as our master. Right. So if you put a bed up against that with the foot of the bed against the rafters,
head of the bed.
Or head.
Foot of the bed, no way. That's like, what's it called? Bad feng shui.
Bad feng shui. Sorry. I feel like there's a ton of room right there. And then over here, this is the same size as the office. The stairs will come up here. There's room for a hallway. You know, it's pretty roomy. I mean, it's as big as the rest of our house, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
what I'm saying is
challenging.
It's all carpeted, and this is the yoga studio. That's not bad. It's not too big.
Oh gosh, this would be a huge yoga studio. This area right here could easily be an area for stretching. There's plenty of room here, and then it could be open down to the dining room. I wanted to get at least one piece of plywood up here and attached so that we can get up here to do things. Like we need to put this ledger board on. It's a 1-inch ledger board on the outside of the rafters, and we need to get these ridge beam braces down. I'm not getting up there today, it's too windy.
Yeah.
I'd like to get this attached, that way the risk of falling off of it is reduced substantially. Well, we've got a few errands to run in town today, so we're gonna get those done as soon as possible. Our goal is to get this platform protected before tonight. We're supposed to get another week of rain. Right now, our ETA on SIPs is conservatively 4 weeks, so a month of winter, fall weather. Not good for the platform. And probably more annoying is everything in our pseudo garage getting completely soaked. The wind came up a minute ago and blew all the water, hit the concrete, and splashed, completely doused the generator. Well, town took a lot longer than I wanted, but Alyssa and I are going to do a little bit of work by work light. I want to get these floor joists moved because I'm still trying to get all the way back to the garden so that I can fill the hydrant hole to winterize that area. We did get the materials to do the plastic up here. Being that it's dark, I'm not super motivated to get that done. Ta-da! Work lights. I knew we'd get our money out of these things. So Alyssa's gonna come help me on that, and then I've gotta get the battery terminal that's all corroded. Gotta get that cleaned up. I want that checked off my list. Another thing that's on my to-do list, among other million other things, is to get the lights working on the backhoe. We only have backlights right now. It's got lights on the front, but they're not working. So, but my manual did show up in the mail today. I'll do a different video on that, but we have a full service manual. And so hopefully I can start tracing those wires and doing some voltage checks, see if there's even current there. If the bulbs are just burnt out, wouldn't that be awesome if it was just bulbs? Or if there's some other underlying problem like everything else on the voltage side of that backhoe.
I'm here to help.
Yay! So I think we can just stick them all up on here.
Okay.
And then move them over there. We'll just put them with everything else, so. Right. Go ahead. Hey. Oh. Good. Hey. Good. Set it in the middle. There you go. Okay, now lift and then turn it out. There you go. Come my way a little bit. I should probably tarp those sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because they're finished.
Okay.
So I'll try to get a tarp on those tonight.
Okay.
Okay, it's time to work on the solar setup. To shut off both arrays, turn off the inverter. I think someone told me on a video one time to mount a light like this in here. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, so let's shut the master off. This terminal is the big offender here. Let's take it apart really quick. It's pretty rough shape. Looks like the contact surfaces were still clean, so the corrosion's just on the outside of the terminal. There's no way there wasn't some resistance being built up in that one terminal. So hopefully charging and everything's more efficient now. Don't worry, the internet is back on.
Yes. Really?
You can now
you know what?
internets.
I dug into the depths of our freezer, and we're having gluten-free pasta for dinner.
Ooh.
And I'm working on a video.
And meat sauce from El Madre.
Yep.
Nice. I just figured that you being without internet was quite problematic.
I didn't notice.
The masses, when they don't get their video, they come knocking, so.
You know, I'm a proud millennial when the internet's out for half an hour and I don't notice.
Didn't even notice.
I'm like, oh, it was out?
You couldn't tweet and you didn't know it. This poor tarp. It's had a pretty rough life. That's better. Wow, so much light. It's part of why I want it tarped so well above. If this area is dry, I know psychologically it'll be good for us and we'll be more inclined to work, especially at night. But when it's dripping from the ceiling and you never know where it's going to be dripping from, it's really hard mentally to come out here and want to do work. We have lots of casualty things laying around here. Things damaged, broken. If you guys haven't already seen the video, I'm assuming Alyssa will put this in the video, but if you haven't already seen it, there's a pretty Pretty funny video now where this part blew off of our water main because I forgot to turn off the main valve to the house, and it flooded the trenches for our footings, and the water was about 3 feet deep, so maybe we'll keep that as a memoir. Well, sounds like dinner's ready, so I think I will go enjoy dinner with Alyssa. I have one more thing that I really want to get done tonight. We're having problems with our deadbolt door lock, and came to the conclusion that the little cam or whatever it is inside this keyless deadbolt had a problem. And since I don't have a tremendous amount of time to troubleshoot, I decided to buy a new lock. So I threw the new lock on there and the old one and got rid of it. But like a ding-a-ling, I did not replace the deadbolt and striker plate, and wouldn't you know it, the new lock seems to have the same problem the old lock did. So it seems like the problem wasn't actually the cam. Problem was something inside the striker mechanism. So I'm gonna do this one last thing and then probably wind down for the evening. I guess there's no way that it can be anything that's wrong with this because this is a completely sealed unit. So I think I see what I was thinking before, is there's really no way there can be anything wrong because all of that mechanism is contained in here. So it seems like this one also is failed. So not sure if there's a flaw with these products or what. Really weird. Had these locks for years and never had any problems, and this is two consecutive locks that have the same exact problem. Something inside is not working the way it's supposed to. So I guess we'll add that to the to-do list. Actually just thought of something that I've been wanting to do, and it just dawned on me while I was in here working that we had a couple of extra LED work lights from the garage that we didn't use. They're a 38 watt LED shop light. They're 4 foot, I think they're integrated LED, and probably the most important part, they are stringable. So we have all of the lights in the garage on a single cord right now. Down the road, hopefully we'll wire them all into a single switch. But we had a couple left over, so I thought I might just plug one in and compare it to the light that we have in the cabin. The light in the cabin we actually got for free. It was part of the reclaimed materials. A lot of this stuff in this cabin was free. We didn't buy it. The light you're seeing right now is not provided by that light. That's part of the Milwaukee work light. Let me turn that off. So that's what our cabin normally looks like. So I aimed it at the ceiling. Creates more like mood lighting instead of direct lighting, but it makes it feel more roomy in here with the light that way. I'm thinking if I put the LED up, I'll probably actually put it on that ridge pole all the way up there and actually direct light the cabin. So this is with both the upper and lower light turned on. Looks a little more industrial just because there's such a direct light. It's one of the things that I guess we've always liked about this cabin, is that the lighting is more indirect. Not gonna hurt to try it. So I think I'll try it for a little while. I would be remiss if I didn't at least come outside and check how it looks from the outside. It definitely has a very direct light from the outside, which matters, right? Because we do some photography of this silly little cabin. So now it kind of looks like there's a shop light in the cabin. The way we had it lit up before, the camera can't really see, but you could see the wood inside from the outside with the camera because it's such an ambient light. And now it just kind of washed out completely. Oh, I think I know the solution. I think for most of the time, we're going to leave the upper light unplugged and leave the ambient light the way it was. But I now have a light up there, so if I want to do work in here take something apart or do some sort of troubleshooting, I can plug in the shop light. Well, it's been a long day, a lot of work done. Thanks for joining us. Guess we'll see you probably tomorrow.